Hey there, I'm the Real Housewife of Snohomish County and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I am working on a brisket, but not just any brisket, and Burrell's braised brisket with onions and mushrooms in balsamic vinegar. This is one of mine and Michael's favorite beef recipes from Burrell. And not only is it super tasty, but you get a lot of mileage out of this one meal. And by that I mean it is a 5-pound piece of meat that costs about 20 bucks if you get it from Costco, yet you don't just get one meal out of it. For 2 people, we get dinner, and then some for lunch the next day, and then usually I'll make like a hot brisket sandwich the next night, and you get 3 or 4 days out of this. You know, you can use it to chop up and put into ravioli or mix it into a sauce. It is such a great recipe. So right now what I'm working on is getting all my mise en place, all of my ingredients that need to be chopped up, sliced up, cut up, smashed, minced, whatever. I'm getting them all ready. That way when it comes time to cook, it's all seamless, and all I have to do is concentrate on getting the ingredients in, and that way everything can go. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to preheat my oven to 375. Alright, so while that's preheating, I'm going to finish my mise en place, and when I get done with that, I'll see you back here and show you how to get this all done. Hey there, welcome back. So as you saw, I got all my mise en place taken care of, which is getting all my ingredients sliced, chopped, minced, whatever it takes, so that when it comes time to getting everything going, we're golden. So I sliced up thinly 3 large onions, and then also took 3 ribs of celery and sliced them on the diagonal. And I put them all in one bowl because they go in at the same time. Then I took the stem off and sliced up thinly a pound of cremini mushrooms. I know it looks like a lot, but remember they cook down. Then I smashed and finely minced 4 cloves of garlic, got my thyme bundle ready, and I have my 4 bay leaves out as well. So let's get to the star. This is a brisket. This is about a 5-pound piece of meat here. It cost me about 20 bucks. And as you can see, it looks kind of intimidating, it's kind of scary, but I tell you what, once we braise this, it's going to be so good. So I've seasoned it with salt, using kosher salt of course, and you season it liberally. Now remember, I know this scares a lot of people to season with this much salt, but it's a big piece of meat. So, and it's kind of a tough piece of meat too. It comes from, the part of the cow that it's from is the front part right above the front legs, and it supports so much weight of that animal because it uses it for walking and everything else, so it's got a lot of connective tissue, so it can be a real tough piece of meat if it's not cooked properly. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get this into the pan that you're going to cook it in the oven. You want to use some sort of a baking pan like this, and I'm going to sear it. An amazing sound, and then I'm going to salt the other side. Remember, salt liberally. And we want to sear this and get this brown so it locks in all those juices. Okay, while that's searing, I'm going to get my bacon ready. Now the recipe calls for a 1/4 pound of slab bacon, but it's kind of hard to find slab bacon. So you can substitute a 1/4 pound of bacon. And I chose this peppered bacon just to add a little more flavor. So now you're going to want to cut this into lardons, which is just rectangles. And then once we get done searing the brisket, this is going to go in. There's nothing like the sizzle of meat on the stove or on the grill. Okay, so that's ready. Check this. Almost there. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to lift this up and get some of that oil back underneath. There we go. Now I use canola oil because it has a higher smoke point. So if you use extra virgin olive oil, your kitchen is going to be filled with smoke. And believe me, I've done it. So this is ready. So like I said, it's about a quarter pound of bacon. And I just go to the butcher at the grocery store because you buy a whole package of bacon. And if you're like me, you don't eat a lot of bacon that much, but you use it for recipes. And so buying 3 slices of this is way cheaper than buying a whole package and then wasting it. Take a look at this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to flip this bad boy over. Now what we're doing here is we're building flavor. We're getting some of the crud from this brisket in there, and then next we're going to add a little bit more oil. We're going to turn the heat down to medium and add the bacon, and it's going to release all that fat, and then we're going to cook all the vegetables in it. So let me get a plate for this. Okay, it's nice and brown. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my stove down to medium. I'm going to get this bad boy out. See how it's nicely browned on that side? Put that down. Set that aside. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add just a little bit more oil. Because we're going to be cooking a lot of vegetables in there. And then, in goes everybody's favorite thing, well at least my favorite thing, bacon. Now the reason why we turned it down to medium is because we don't want this bacon to crisp up instantly. We want it to cook at a lower temperature so it starts to release some of that fat instead of seizing up on it. Okay, so the bacon is crisped up nicely, still at about a medium heat. It's released a lot of that fat. And now we need to add in our onions and our celery. So now I'm going to kind of mix this all around because I want all of these to get a little bit of that oil and a little bit of that bacon grease in there. And we're going to let these go for about 7 to 8 minutes until they start to get soft, and then you can really smell everything. Now, don't forget, season along the way, because at the very end, it's too late. So, get some salt. Remember, it's a lot of vegetables, a lot of meat. Don't be scared. Okay, so the onions and the celery have softened up and have released their delicious, delicious aromas. So now we're going to add the 4 cloves of minced garlic. You're going to get that mixed in, and we're only going to let this go for about 2 to 3 minutes. We don't want that garlic to burn, but you want to be able to smell it. So make sure you keep it moving. Okay, oh, it smells so good in here. I can still smell the bacon and the onions and the garlic. It smells so good. Okay, now that those are all mixed together, I'm going to go ahead and add in my mushrooms. Like I said, it looks like a lot of mushrooms and even a lot of vegetables in here, but they're all going to cook and kind of wilt down. So get these all mixed in, and you're going to want to cook these until they start to soften and wilt a little bit. And it's only going to take a couple of minutes. Okay, so my mushrooms have wilted up very nicely. Gotten nice and soft. Everything's kind of meshed together. Doesn't this look delicious? Now it's time to add the thing that brings all these lovely flavors together. Balsamic vinegar. So now what I like to do is go to Costco and buy a large jar of this and keep it in stock, because for this recipe you're going to need 2 cups of balsamic vinegar. Seems like a lot, but let me tell you, it's the glue that holds this all together. It is so good. So we're going to add this in. And we're going to let it reduce by half. Let's mix it in here. So I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit more. I've got it on about medium-high right now, and we're going to let that reduce. Okay, so as you can see, this has been going and it's reduced by about half. It smells so good in here. And I'm going to grab a spoon, I'm going to give it a little taste. It's really good. It's really vinegary, which clearly, because you put 2 cups of balsamic vinegar in there. But I'm going to give it a little bit more salt. And work that around. Now, it's time for the superstar. And I'm going to put it the fat side down first. I'm just going to nestle it right in and amongst all the veggies. Oh man. Then I have a quart of chicken stock, homemade. Of course, if you don't make your own, you can use low sodium chicken broth or chicken stock from the grocery store. And you just want it to come up to the top of the brisket. After all, it's braised, which means low and slow and liquid. Okay, so I'm going to give it a little bit more salt, because my chicken stock has no salt in it whatsoever. So we're going to give it a little bit more there. Get it mixed in. And give it another taste. That is delicious. I'm going to add my thyme bundle and my bay leaves. Let's get the heat off. Then I'm going to cover it with some tin foil and get it in the oven. So remember that we started out by preheating our oven to 375. So that's all ready to go. It's nice and covered here. And I'm going to shoot this in the oven for about an hour, and then I'm going to check on it. So, see you in a bit. Okay, so the brisket has been in the oven for about an hour now. I can't even begin to explain how good this smells. So as you can see, the brisket has shrunk a little bit, which is good. I'm gonna go ahead and mix up the veggies a little bit more. Oh man. And let's go ahead and flip this over. Sink her right back in. And it doesn't really need any more chicken stock, but I'm just going to use the rest of this up in here. Let's taste it, see how this, what will be our gravy or our sauce is going to come along. It's fantastic. It's not too vinegary, but it's got such good flavor to it. So I'm going to get this back in the oven. It's going to go for about another hour. And then we're going to take it out, uncover it, and let it go for another 30 minutes. And that 30 minutes, during that amount of time, the sauce will reduce a little bit. All right, here we go. Okay, so it's been another hour and I actually had to run to the grocery store really quickly, and when I walked in the door, the smell of this brisket was just, I can't even begin to explain to you how good it smells in here right now. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh man. Give that a little shift and shimmy. I actually want to taste this again. I'm trying not to burn my mouth this time. Oh, that is spot on. Spot on. I might hit it with just a tad bit more salt. And now, this is going to go back in the oven, uncovered, for about 30 more minutes. I know, it seems like a lot, but remember, it's a tough piece of meat, and it needs to cook low and slow for a long period of time. Oh boy. I cannot even begin to describe the smell in here. It smells so delicious. So what we need to do now is cook for another half hour. Oh, I want to be as careful as I can with this because I don't want it to fall apart on me yet. I want to take this off and get it on a cutting board to rest for about 20 minutes. And this is to make sure that all those lovely juices inside kind of redistribute. Now what I did is I created a little resting place for it here with this tin foil because I don't want to lose any of those drippings. But I'm going to loosely then cover that, and we're going to leave that up here. Now while you were away, I cut up some potatoes, some Yukon Gold potatoes, and have them boiling away on the stove. And I added a couple cloves of garlic in there as well. So it's just going to give it another little secret flavor boost there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fish out the bay leaves and the thyme bundle. And if you find that this is still pretty soupy or pretty liquidy, you want to go ahead and get this on a medium to medium-high heat and let it reduce a little bit here on the stove top. Okay, I've got 3 of my bay leaves. Let's see if I can find my last one. Okay, so I got all those. Now, what I do want to do is I want to give it a taste, another taste. The seasoning is pretty spot on. I'm also going to take this time to, let me turn this down. I'm going to go ahead and skim some of this fat from the cooking oil off. And I'm just using the spoon and going along the top. And if you just do it really lightly, just barely come under the surface of the liquid, you're going to get all the oil and none of the good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get the potatoes mixed together, and our salad together, and the corn on the stove, and I'll see you back here when it's time to plate. Okay, so it has been about 20 minutes now, and I am so ready to cut into this brisket, so let's make this happen. I'm going to go ahead and take this. Oh gosh, it smells so good, you guys. And see how it's just falling apart underneath this? Oh. Let's go ahead. We'll dump that in with the rest. We don't want to waste anything. And the first thing I'm going to get on my plate, some mashed potatoes. And again, I just cubed up and boiled some Yukon Gold potatoes with a couple cloves of garlic. Filled it with cold water, brought it to a boil, and let it boil until they were fork tender. And then I just mashed them up, added some heavy cream and some butter. Corn on here too. Okay. Now it's time to cut this bad boy. So let's go ahead and start with, and you want to cut on a bias against the grain, so as you can see, you'll be able to see which way the grain of the meat is going. You want to go ahead. Oh, just look at that. Oh boy, I can't even tell you. I'm just going to give myself these 2 end pieces here. Like I said, Michael better hurry up and get home. Okay. Let's go ahead and get some of this delicious balsamic vinegar sauce with onions and celery and all that other good stuff. Okay. Push this up. Let's go ahead and give this a taste. I've been waiting a long time for this, and these end pieces, I love the end pieces, they taste so good. A little bit of everything on there. The meat is so tender. That cooking that low and slow and then braising it in the balsamic vinegar, it just permeates the entire meat. I cannot wait to actually finish dinner when Michael gets home. Oh, okay. I cannot tell you how much I absolutely love this recipe. And I hope that you take it upon yourselves to go buy a brisket and all the fixins and try this recipe out for yourself. And I want to again thank Miss Ann Burrell and the Food Network for allowing me to use this recipe and to make it I don't know how many times. So again, you can find the recipe at foodnetwork.com on Secrets of a Restaurant Chef, and enjoy. And until next time, keep cooking.